I think Shanks is a virgin, a nigga that get drunk all the time and be going to parties. Hell no. Alright. What is this? Oh shit! Alright, y'all. It's about that time again. The One Piece episode breakdown. We do these every time it's a hype episode. My reaction to the episode, of course, will be linked if you want to check that out. Link below for YouTube version and the full version that's available on Patreon. Want to check that out? Just because, you know, YouTube, you can't upload the entire thing. So we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get to the episode. Now, something to consider as well with this breakdown is that, well, we're not going to watch the entire thing because we don't care about what's going on with York. We're going to just jump to the good shit. But the beginning of this episode is pretty good. I'm not going to use sound as much. I'm going to go back and forth. I thought this is a great intro. Typically with One Piece episodes, when they start off with no music, right? It's just straight up vibes. And I think this is great. I think the shot is beautiful here, giving us Kid on his ship. And I think considering that we know his ship is about to get eradicated, him even... Oh, this was a great shot too that I really enjoyed. Seeing that, like, yo, he has a bunch of weapons stored in his ship that he uses, you know, that's his arm essentially, right? So that was a really cool or neat addition. What I really liked was him walking and touching his ship, right? Because this is almost symbolic, because this is the last time he really gets to do anything like this before his ship just gets eradicated. So it's almost like the final goodbye to like an old friend. So I really enjoyed that. Him just walking through, almost reminiscing and mentally preparing himself for what was to come. I don't think Kid is showing exactly how he's feeling here. When he's talking to Killer and the other members of the crew, he seems erratic. He seems like he's on a one-track mind, uber confident. I think this is Kid in his element where it's like, it's all or nothing. And he kind of committed to it at this point, where it's like, there's no turning back, which he could have probably turned back, but this was it for him, you know? And that's typically the type of character that he's been, all or nothing. So something that's clear to me as well is that Shanks is giving Kid several outs. Like, I don't think Shanks obviously does not want to do this. And this goes back to how Shanks views the next generation, the saplings, and not letting them get plucked before they bloom. And even though Kid already has a 3 billion berry bounty, he's not near his peak yet. So for him, he's kind of hoping that Kid leaves and runs away, but that's just not how Kid is built. We're gonna skip all this Seraphim stuff because whatever. This is cool because this indicates that Blackbeard, a member of the Blackbeard's crew, Blackbeard Pirates, they are on the island or approaching the island or leaving the island. We already know the vibe. So again, I think it's great showing Kid's crew here. Again, this look that he comes back with, this is what he shows the crew, but this is not exactly how he's feeling. I don't think he's conflicted, but there's some doubt, there's fear, there's knowing that this could be it, right? But that side he doesn't show everyone, which, you know, that uber confidence that he displays is something that for him as a conqueror, even though it's never been shown, just been stated, you know, it's important, right? But he needs to be reeled in at times. This is one of those times. Like, his crew hasn't been fleshed out as much, in SBS they have, but not as much, so you don't really have any connection to the crew. You barely know their names. But this shot, I worry about it though, because I'm like, what is Killer thinking? And more than likely, what I presume Killer is thinking is, Kid, is this what we should be doing? And this goes back to a show I watched recently where the right hand let the captain do something that he probably shouldn't have done, and then everything kind of deteriorated after that. And I think this is one of these moments where Killer should have probably stepped in and even threatened to leave because of how irrational Kid was being. Like, he's looking at him and he's not saying anything. It's not the regular I'm with you no matter what look. Even if we can't see his face, just the body posture, it screams doubt. Like, are you sure about this? And he even said it, right? In previous chapters or previous episodes. Like, are we sure about it? But you got to understand Kid and like the confidence coming off of beating someone like Big Mom. I think he's underestimating, excuse me, just how integral Law was. But look how much they're focusing on Killer staring at Kid. This does not scream support. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. You know, this is what it means to be a pirate though. This is why I'm not saying I don't like it. Why I frown upon the Kid slander, just because this is what it means to be a pirate, right? Being prepared to risk your life. And Kid has always been that, where he is literally the embodiment of a true pirate. But then he gets slandered because he just isn't successful. And that, newsflash, everyone can be successful. You need losers to have winners, right? And so he's an unfortunate casualty for the other people. Like I said, his crew, we don't know them, right? They're already revealed their names, etc., but we have no idea who they are. And so even in these moments, it's cool, but like, bro, we have no connection to them. Like, I would like to know more about the dynamic of the crew, etc., and why this nigga got a dress on. But that's besides the point, because One Piece is all about inclusion. Always has been, always will be. But, you know, he has a very odd crew. Is this nigga dressed like him? Either way, you know, it seems like they believe in him no matter what. The person I'm always worried about, though, is Killer. These people here generally don't matter because these are just Shanks' underlings. Banter back and forth that we're not going to focus on. Just kind of filling the episode. It was in the manga as well, but you kind of understand it. So now we see like things aren't super tense on Kid's crew outside of Killer. You go to Shanks' crew. They're chilling. They're so confident. It's like they just landed on a new island. They're laughing, smiling, and Shanks, the aura that he has is undeniable, right? I think even his crew, like his underlings, were willing to risk their lives for him no matter what. It stands out, right? Like they're running just to get a glimpse of him and put hands on him, right? So the aura is undeniable. I think what I liked about this episode as well, even though he's an adult, his facial expressions and how he looked in this episode, it made you feel how warm Shanks is, right? And how much he appreciates people, which I'm like, this guy, even though he can be ruthless, has a heart. Like I said, he gave Kid several outs and he didn't take any of them. Like even this look, it reminds you of like just how, not childlike, but how immature, right? And how fun Shanks is. Like it reminds me of the beginning of the series, like the troll look he gave Luffy was like, hey, you want some milk, right? It's just, it gave me that reminiscent feeling, which I really enjoyed a lot of these expressions and how he was looking, which is like he has a certain demeanor when he's dealing with his people, right? And I think it was great to see that switch happen in this episode where he goes from so warm, so light, everyone wants to be around him, right? To the demon that we see in this episode. So that was a really great switch. And I think if for a pirate like this, you gotta have those moments to establish your reputation. Even though you're a good guy, you can't always be a nice guy. And Shanks, I think, embodies that very well, where the people, they follow him because they trust in him. They believe him, right? Even his crewmates are telling him, like, come on, man, like, you're just really popular. I love this line as well, considering that Shanks, as free as he seems to be, he's a cautious man, right? He's a man that understands, hey, I have to take everybody seriously. And that's why when he talks about Blackbeard, it makes me respect Blackbeard even more because he said, yo, I was on guard. I was paying attention. And going back to the flashback, remember, he was the one looking at Blackbeard like, yo, I don't know, this guy hasn't slept, et cetera, et cetera. So he's always been a very perceptive person. And he's telling, yo, Lucky Roo, like, don't underestimate how fast young people grow up. Because think about it, for someone like Lucky Roo, right, and how they look at Luffy, and Luffy started his journey over 2 years ago, not more than 3 years ago. From where he started to where he is now, if you was like, he's only been a pirate 3 years, he can't mess with us. We've been pirates for over a decade. They would get folded. So I like just this caution from him, which shows his experience. And it could be something that he learned from someone like Roger, right? Maybe something he heard from Roger, or just his own mantra that he's kind of gotten or gained as he grew. But it feels like somebody older would say. Shanks is only, what, 39? He's not an old guy. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got it from Rayleigh and Roger and those guys he was around, because, you know, he was on the legendary crew. Again, he's asking again, have their wounds from the land of Wano healed? Have they healed, right? He's worried about it. Yasop, he doesn't care about anything. He doesn't even care about his own wife and kids. So he's like, yeah, man, they look fine. They're ready to fight. Let's do this. So they have completely different mindsets when it comes to this. You know, but Shanks does trust what Yasop said. Yasop was wrong. They do look fine. And then even in the midst of it, he always is on task, right? Because even with the threat in front of you, you always got to worry about the threat, which in this case is Blackbeard. So they're keeping tabs. They went to Wano just in case Blackbeard went there, which tells me at some point Blackbeard is going to show up in Wano, because if Shanks thought he would go to Wano, it'll be for a reason. Which Blackbeard did the smarter thing, which is like, I'm not going to go to Wano. I'm going to go to a different route to pick off whomever is left, so I don't have to fight both of them at the same time. This perspective makes, this is Hongo, I believe, makes him look enormous. It's just a perspective, though. Again, another thing to show that Shanks is a very cautious man, preparation. He has information on Kid. He's like, yo, let's see what we got on him. Even though I'm a Yonko of the seas, right? I want to make sure I know everything about who this kid is. And I think this, again, is showing the experience as a pirate crew, just how organized they are. to have people doing stuff like this, it's a completely different aspect to these guys, right? Where they've seen wanted posters, right? But how much do you actually know about Shanks's crew? How much do you actually know about Shanks? Do you have any intel on Shanks? Because if you did, you'd probably be a bit more cautious, right? Future sight, his ability to close distance in a short amount of time. These are things that you probably should know, where the preparation is different, which I think shows the lack of experience or the lack of care in this instance, where Shanks, even though he's the favorite, seems to be taking way more precautions, right? Which again is the beginning of kids' downfall, which it could be arrogance, could be overconfidence, or just straight up inexperience, which is insane for somebody that's been on the seas for so long and experienced so much. But I mean, look at the difference between the two, right? Now, I think Kid is definitely a hothead and can be impulsive, which everything he's doing here is super flashy, over the top. But this is just how he is, right? I don't care who my opponents are, which you probably should. In this instance, you probably should. And then I think this was only there to give Shanks time to react, saying he's gonna annihilate him in 10 seconds. And we know his ability does have charging time. It took a bit longer than it did in Wano versus Big Mom, but considering that he was sending out attacks from multiple ships, I get it. But versus Big Mom, it was like a constant stream as well. But either way, it's built in there. And even though I think Damn Punk is underrated, it's just, you know, this is a Yonko of the seas. Now, let's not get this twisted. This attack is devastating, especially on the seas. It is literally pulling the ships to him, right? Like the shot that I love was like, this is a shot right here where it shows like it is pulling the ships within his range, which I think is incredible. It's actually incredible. And Kid's OST is not bad, bro. I like his OST, and he's not wrong. These are small fries, and he gets into his bag and proceeds to eradicate them. But then, of course, this leads to Shanks using Future Sight. So I think Shanks felt what Kid was about to do. He felt the power of it, and he's like, okay, let me use my Future Sight, which it's at least 10 seconds. At least 10 seconds, okay? Because he sees everything Kid is about to do, where he eradicates all these ships with one attack. I absolutely love that, how it went slowly to the left and then blitzed back to the right, but one more time for good measure, completely eradicates all of his allies, right? Which you would understand for Shanks, why he's going the route of, well, yo, I gotta lock in, okay? I gotta lock in, or else I am fucking screwed, or I'm screwed. So I wasn't mad at this display by Kid. Shanks just had an amazing reaction, right? Where for Shanks, he has 10 seconds, y'all. He has 10 seconds. And again, this is the organization of the crew. Dory Brogy, stay ready, turn hard, turn the ship to starboard, right? I believe is what he said. He then uses the ship to propel himself, and Ben Beckman isn't doing anything. Like, again, the preparation, the experience that this crew has, and bro, let's slow this down. A blur. It looks hilarious. Slow it down. It does look hilarious. Like, it's much better like in real time, right? Because he's going so fast that he is literally just flying, bro. Literally just flying. And this by Ben Beckman, it was weird. I don't know what's going on with the voice actor. I guess he changed, but that's not what I remember from Ben Beckman. So Shanks is leaping. He leapt from his ship to his ally ship. And this shows his experience from being on a ship for a long time. And this was the crazy one, because from this ship, it's a bound, right, to the next ship. And then he completely leaps from that ship, which I'm presuming is this ship right here. And then see a griffin is formed and it is flying, which, bro, it is such an insane shot. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, bro. It is so beautiful in regards to aesthetic, because it embodies just how fast Shanks can close speed. We saw it in film Red a little bit, but to see this, right? Which, imagine you're seeing this you're like, what the hell is going on? Kid's demeanor changes immediately, right? And he's like, oh shit. And Shanks is already on him. Bro, he's already on him. I love here how he says, Akagami. And at that point, like, what can you do? And it's just like a reckoning, meet your maker. Kamasari. Completely slices Kid's attack weapon in half. Now, actually, it doesn't slice it in half, actually. It blows it up. It doesn't slice it in half. Even though it's a cut, it just blows it up, which to me confirms that like it wasn't just Shanks's attack that knocked Kid out. So I enjoyed the anime doing that, because it's like the power from it, look, it's cracking. It's not sliced necessarily, because you see the area of effect from the attack. And what I like about it is that we see Killer here, which to me, Killer, you got to be a bit more involved when you see a swordsman blitzing your captain like this. Not saying this is Killer's fault, but you are held accountable to a degree. Because if somebody did this to Luffy while he was charging Bajran gun and Zoro was right there, especially if it's a swordsman, Zoro would get destroyed, right? And just the Conqueror's Haki just dripping everywhere, right? Which is knocking crewmates out. And Killer's blades, y'all, that I did not notice, Killer's blades are destroyed from the AoE. The effect from the attack destroys Killer's blades. Holy shit. And Kid is just done, right? Because it's not just... So for me, right, Commissary isn't necessarily a cutting attack, right? It seems like it is a sword slash that damn near explodes on contact, where it's almost like if he's sending a sword slash, and because it's coated, when you get hit, you're not getting cut. It is like an exploding Conqueror's Haki bomb, right? Because it didn't necessarily cut Kid's weapon, right? It just damn near I mean, of course, with Kid and the nature of his attack, because I don't think Shanks's attack, this is when the effect happened. The effect of Shanks's attack happened. It just finally exploded right here. So Kid felt the first implosion was from his attack, and then he felt the attack from Shanks's blade. Because then you see the area of effect starts to affect everything else, destroying windows. This honestly is from Kid's weapon blowing the bombs up, right? The AoE from both Kid's attack and Shanks's attack, which is damn near a Conqueror's Haki Bijou bomb that you just can't prepare for. And the crazy part is that Shanks, like, it's an insane feat. Like, he got behind the effect. Like, it's like almost like a delayed effect, but I think this can show Shanks' speed as well. That Shanks is... Of course, perspective is interesting because they're showing you that Shanks has already attacked, right? And made his move elsewhere. And Kid is just now getting hit by the force of the blow. Like, he's already made his move to go elsewhere. Kid just now got hit by the force of the blow. And he sent through everything. I think they did a good job of showing, like, why he had no chance. The last moments on his ship. Arm gone again. And... going back really quickly, I think you could argue that Shanks, did he jump back to avoid the effect of the explosion? Because he immediately turns tail, right? So that's interesting. But yeah, I mean, what are you going to do here? Not much you can do here, right? It's over for him. His explosion, the freaking Conqueror's Haki Bijou bomb, which I don't think Kid has been ever hit with an onslaught like this, especially this unexpected. I think even when he faced Kaido, we didn't see the actual initial clash, but Kaido, they said Kid would not give up, right? So that tells us that it wasn't just one hit and he was done from Kaido. It seemed like it was relentless and Kid kept getting up. So I don't think he expected this. Like, look at his eyes. They're glazed over. And all he sees is a demon, or you could say a god, walking towards him. And in a way, Shanks spared him. He could have cut his head off. And Shanks was so devastating, this nigga Kid started hallucinating that he beat him. He went into a dream world, right? Look at how he speaks. He's saying one more, because this goes back to the man with the burn scar and him having the last poneglyph. He's like, I got Big Mom, Kaido, Shanks, just one more, right? My man goes into a whole hallucination, like if he's Naruto with the Kyuubi, right? Which is interesting, like, because if he had beaten Shanks, that's fair to say. That's fair to say. Killer's laugh kind of breaks him out of it, which I thought was hilarious, where that brought him back to reality a little bit. Like, hold up, what's going on? Then we see Killer absolutely just leaking, brought him back to reality. And it's insane because in the moment, right? In the moment, bro, Kid is dying, right? And we saw that, like, the metal, they had the metal floating that shows he was still fighting it. Then once the metal falls, it's like he has nothing left. That's it. He just passed out. They both got eradicated. And now here comes Shanks. Listen, bro. I don't know if people can say Shanks don't got no aura, but think about just these guys, right? This is embedded in their brain forever. I don't think they will ever be scared of any pirate more than they're scared of Shanks right now. Bro, look at him. And I think there's something about the fact that he has red hair, right? That in the midst of all this fire and destruction, he just looks a lot more menacing, right? He looks, and again, this is the ruthless vibe that he has to give off when he's committed, because he has a reputation to uphold, and that's just, you have to somewhat match the energy of the Seed. And Kid, he just wasn't prepared. Now, people question this as well, saying like, would Luffy's crew ask for the road poneglyphs, or would they offer the road poneglyphs, or would they just die with Luffy? Usopp would, for sure. Usopp is definitely giving up these poneglyphs. So I don't feel bad for Kid's crew for trying to do everything to spare his life. I wonder what Shanks is thinking in this moment. I don't think Shanks is super happy about this, but I'm sure he's looking at it like you have good crew members who's willing to do anything to save your life, which, I mean, we saw Zoro groveling so that he can get better to be there for Luffy. So like, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just poor timing considering just how much confidence your captain had, you know? But I don't think Shanks is happy about this. He just turns away and leaves. But at the end of the day, he leaves, and that prepares them for more death. Because who's on the coastline? Who's on the coastline, y'all? Dory and Brogy, right? This is the final cleanup. Which obviously Shanks did not need them, but this is Shanks, right? And this is not necessarily the same thing, but in a recent chapter, how Luffy was speaking life into Bonnie, I think is the same thing where like speaking confidence into Bonnie, it's like, this is how you build the confidence in your crew. You have them sometimes do things that aren't necessary, but it shows that you can depend on them and that you are depending on them. And so having Dory and Brogy like land a final blow, I think is just the exclamation mark, right? Exclamation point on this entire thing. And so this is it. This is Kid's demise. This is the end of it. The Hakoku sovereignty. And there aren't a lot of attacks that are more devastating than this attack. I know Vincent did this one, and Vincent he loves impact frames. Damn, this is a sun, right? And we know how the people of Elbaf feel about the sun god. Look at this. Look at that. Look at the Sun Pirate's crest. I love doing breakdowns on Vincent's animation because there's always something in there to see. Always something in there to see. Because he's such a student of One Piece and he loves One Piece so much. Yo, they did the Nika dance. Oh my God. They did the freaking Nika dance, bro. That is a neat ass detail. Look at that. That is dope. That is dope, Vincent. Oh my God, this is such a beautiful shot. Oh my gosh, y'all. Y'all seeing this? Still don't know what powers Heat and Wire. Actually, I think one of them, well, Heat has fire, obviously, and Wire uses spikes. I was about to lie. The others, I have no idea what they can do. But I mean, this is a Yonko's crew. Most people are relevant. Look at this. Which is crazy, right? This shows the difference between Shanks's attack and Dorian Brogy's attack, where Shanks's attack doesn't necessarily cut, right? Shanks's attack is a bomb. It's literally a bomb. Dorian Brogy's attack, it literally split the ship in half. And Shanks's attack, again, it was like a freaking bomb. But this is insane as well. And this is the end, y'all. This is the end of Kid. I don't think this is necessarily the end for Kid, but boy, oh boy, what a way to go out. Completely eradicated. Just got a 3 billion berry bounty, then got eradicated by a Yonko of the Sea. Sorry, bro. Bit off a bit more than you can chew. Bit off a bit more. And then Shanks, yo. This guy, man. It's a different energy when he's like locked in. It's a completely different energy. Yeah, fantastic episode. I mean, I think Toei has been delivering for the moments that matter. Like, we can't forget about Luffy versus Rob Lucci, etc. They have been delivering, and so we locked in, baby. Let me know what you think about the episode, what you thought about the breakdown. I feel bad for Kid, but sometimes I don't, just because, well, he brings this on himself, but I do hold Oda accountable as well, because I don't think Oda ever gave Kid a chance. And I think it's intentional, but execution-wise, I have some questions. Not today, though. Amazing episode. This one made me happy. Really.